781. After time is turned back by Seo Un-yun, the heavenly venerable of time, and the heavenly venerable of the underworld. Inside a gray space, a silver sphere starts to tremble faintly. I can no longer read his future. Until now, the list of such beings included only the underworld, Salt Sea, and the Fate Supreme Deity. For some reason, the silver sphere shows a confused hue. The being once called Silver Basket speaks with a trembling voice. Even the four-pun possibility of victory I read now no longer stays fixed. Has the victory probability indeed gone up, or, for some reason in an uneasy voice, Silver Basket speaks in self-mockery. Even this, from deep within the gray space, Silver Basket's worries resound bitterly. Ku-do-do-do-do. By my decree, the myriad stars calculate the debts of all the world and offer them to me. Tiling. As I look down upon the world from above Indra's net, the countless principles entangled with the world are coiled in my hands. If I only pull these strings of principle, I can exact recompense from all beings who have been indebted to the stars until now. Quirurung. And as if noticing this, from the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, the Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord throws the God-killing spear. Ku-gu-gu-gu. Watching the God-killing spear fall from the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, I very naturally stretch out my hand. Wong. A gentle energy seems to bloom from my hand, and the power of the heavenly domain that belongs to me gently diverts the God-killing spear. Tuwang. The God-killing spear flies straight out beyond Mount Sumeru, and I shake the 7 stars harnessing God banner. Kuriririk. Space-time melts. At the same time, my heavenly domain that is adjacent with the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain seems to fuse together by the 7 stars harnessing God banner that manipulates space-time. As if angered, the Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord begins to draw power from the origin essence of radiance. However, they were beings who were originally 10. At least 8 immortal lords are needed to properly draw out the origin essence of light, and with the mere power of a single Heavenly Lord, it is obviously impossible to draw out all that power. Because they are stronger than ordinary immortal lords, and was originally in the upper ranks among the Radiant's 8 immortals, the authority they wield as a Heavenly Lord is still comparable to a supreme deity. But it is only that much. At best, merely the level of an ordinary supreme deity. Ururururung. I quietly begin to raise my authority. My heavenly domain, fused with the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain, moves actively and begins to encroach upon the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. The stars and the Milky Ways that belong to the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain begin to revolve according to my will. I ask my myriad stars. O stars, what realms of the immortal cultivation system receive your aid? We report to the Lord, we are used by immortals as the stars of prophecy, and all this time, have acted as the symbol of the heavens, bearing countless prophecies. Please harvest all the authorities of the heaven immortals that prophesied through the stars. We report to the Lord, not only the realms of Yang Pitch and Yin Pitch through prophecy, but even the cultivation of Great Net is all passed through us. Please harvest the realms of Upper Immortal and Great Net Immortal. Hearing those words, they are indeed correct. I, in the name of the Star Genesis Supreme Deity, speak thus. The realms of the Great Immortal Cultivation System Great Net and Upper Immortal shall in my name be harvested, and in my name be proven. Ururung. By my proclamation, I come to preside over the Great Net Immortal and Upper Immortal realms of the Immortal Cultivation System. We trouble the Lord once again to report. As we quietly observe, it is clear that the realm of vestige liberation is proven by our friends, the fixed stars. Therefore, O Lord, please also harvest the realm of vestige liberation immortal. Indeed, those words are also right. This emperor is truly like the guide of the myriad stars, thus cultivation that receives the aid of the fixed stars is rightly proven by this emperor. I, in the name of the Star Genesis Supreme Deity, speak thus the realm of the Great Immortal Cultivation System vestige liberation shall in my name be harvested, and in my name be proven. We once more trouble the Lord to report. Clearly, as we feel, the quasi-immortals, who are members of the immortal family, always weave formations and display divine power using the light of the stars and the dragon vein of stars that are the star veins, and through them they cultivate. Clearly this also is within the Lord's domain, therefore it should be rightfully harvested. Such words. Indeed, I shall also heed your opinion. However, as this is not a full privilege of the realm, I shall harvest only their divine powers, not the entirety of the realm. I, in the name of the Star Genesis Supreme Deity, speak thus. The formation of the star veins, the privilege of the quasi-immortals of entering nirvana, from this day forth shall in my name be harvested, and in my name be proven. The star vein formation, the divine power of the entering nirvana stage. The divine power of the quasi-immortal realm from now on comes to be presided over by me. O Lord, we beg forgiveness. We still have many matters we must report, so be not angered and please listen. I differ from my senior brother. I do not destroy the world merely out of anger. Speak at ease. We offer praise to the great mercy and great compassion. We report to the Lord. In our eyes the realm of the sacred vessel stage clearly becomes a being like the fixed stars and begins cultivation by wielding the power of the myriad stars. Surely this too is within the Lord's domain, therefore it should be rightfully taken. Indeed, all your words are right. Lord, this is not the end. The star-shattering stage clearly receives the authority of the star tribulation connected to us and is reborn. At the same time, those who reach the star-shattering stage are all connected with us, begin to borrow strength from us, and it is the first step in beginning to become like us, so they too have the qualification to receive Lord's grace. That too is right. The realms of sacred vessel and star-shattering shall be harvested by me. I, in the name of the star Genesis Supreme Deity, speak thus. Those two realms shall also belong to me. The entirety of the sacred vessel stage, the advancement process of the star-shattering stage, and the entirety of the star-shattering stage, begin to be presided over by me. Lord, now again we report. The memorials of the myriad stars continue to pour down like rain. The Earth axis stage that grows to resemble the stars. The core formation stage that engraves the heavenly sphere diagram upon the golden core. The chi building stage that creates a star of spirit energy within the body all come to belong to me. Urururung, my presence is engraved upon the numerous realms of the immortal cultivation system. And at last, I truly reach the end of a very lengthy journey. I arrive at the realm I began to gaze upon the stars. Chi refining 7th star, 7 stars ritual, Wu Wang, the 7 stars harnessing God banner begins to circle around me. I, in the name of the Lord of myriad stars, speak thus. Kugugugugu, the former appearance of the 7 stars harnessing God banner. The domain upon which the Northern Dipper's 7 heavenly lords laid their hands to some extent is transferred to my ownership. From this very moment, all the stars of the 7 stars ritual. Uduk, Udududuk. By my authority, the fundamental principles of the world begin to be torn up and rearranged. This is also a kind of arrangement for later generations. Shall forbid the phenomenon called heavenly rejection. From henceforth, heavenly rejected shall not exist. Under my name, Joyoyoyong. As the principles are torn away, from now on there will no longer be any chance for the phenomenon of heavenly rejection to fall upon an ender. Later students shall no longer need to cry, heavens above, while blocked at the 7th star of chi refining. 7th star of chi refining comes to belong to me. Kwakijijijik. Moreover, the chi refining stage 2nd star, chi refining 1st star. The formulas of the 36 heavenly spirits and the 72 earthly fiends likewise come to belong to me. I now concurrently hold more realms than any supreme deity in history, and I look to the guardian of the immortal cultivation system, the Radiance 8 Immortals. No, I now look up to Rain Dew, who has become the Radiant's single heavenly lord. Kung, 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 Kung. As I tread across galaxy clusters and approach them, I see despair take root in Rain Dew's heart. How? No matter if you are an ender, how can you have so many realms? By crawling up, I have come to know those realms better than even the heavens. I speak calmly, unlike you, who received and passed on what is granted from birth by the heavens. I am one who reached all those realms by thrashing about to climb with no talent. A thing impossible for a genius. Only because I am a dullard, and as a dullard I pierce the meaning and significance of every realm through the way of understanding before breakthrough and climbed up to here, interpretations and come to preside over many realms. Able to push forward various. If I merely have the name value of owner of myriad stars, I absolutely could not push forward interpretations upon this many realms. Kugugugugu. The closer I draw to the Rain Dew Heavenly Lord, the more I see them tremble. Do not come, Wang. God-killing spears are summoned above the Rain Dew Heavenly Lord's hands. It is an authority hard for the Rain Dew Heavenly Lord to produce alone, but it seems the emergency stockpiled. God-killing spears still remain. Do not come, oh monster. The Rain Dew Heavenly Lord flings the God-killing spears at me as if in a seizure, but I open one hand. That is the end. Tukwang. A hole opens in my hand, and the God-killing spears lodge in my hand. Yes, that is the end of it. Blocking the God-killing spears with the left palm, I open my right hand and extend toward the Rain Dew Heavenly Lord. The Rain Dew Heavenly Lord spasms and cries out. O origin essence of radiance! In the name of the radiance supreme deity, the dead shall. Kugugugu. All the grace I received from light becomes their authority and gets sucked into them, but that is all. They cannot stop me. The rain-dew heavenly lord goes into convulsions and summons the true immortals of Radiance Hall. Th-33 heavenly resplendent treasure immortals, come forth. Qian Kun twin immortals, come forth. Envoys of the final age of Dharma, come forth. However, no one comes. The reason is simple, because the envoys of the final age of Dharma have all fled outside the Heavenly King heavenly domain and are shouting like mad. The far edge of Mount Sumeru, the boundary of the outer sea, and Mount Sumeru. There, countless envoys of the final age of Dharma seize the true immortals of Radiance Hall and shout like mad. Let all true immortals hear. This immortal is a survivor of the vast cold great war. We envoys of the final age of Dharma all have experienced the Tridakna vast cold heavenly king. We dare testify upon the seat of our origin essence. Currently, that one, the one called the Star Genesis Supreme Deity who fell the great mountain Supreme Deity at the great net immortal realm, is equal to the Tridakna vast cold heavenly king in their prime. It is the return of vast cold. It is to say it is the same as the underworld descending, dragging their Gandhara. As an elder of Radiance Hall, I speak. Immortals of Radiance Hall, do not go there. Do not answer the rain-dew heavenly lord's words. It will lead to nothing but a dog's death. Numerous immortal lords, great net immortals, or all who have experienced the vast cold heavenly lord speak with one voice. That the terrifying supreme deity who is devouring the heavenly king heavenly domain right now is equal to the Tridakna vast cold heavenly king in their prime. Recalling the terrifying authority of the vast cold heavenly lord, all the great immortals go into fits and frantically hold back the young true immortals. As if they absolutely do not want to hand them a dog's death. And, sensing their reaction, the rain-dew heavenly lord looks in despair at the gigantic supreme deity before their eyes. They do not know either why an ender has become a supreme deity. However, with not even a moment to think of such things, seeing the hand of the Star Genesis Supreme Deity's main body, incomparably vast beyond the rain-dew heavenly lord's own main body, they can only resist with all their might. They draw forth the god-killing spears. They extract the authorities of enders across the ages. They extract the power of the Radiance Hall heavenly lords they had killed and executed. They extract the power of the supreme deities the Radiance 8 immortals had annihilated, and with all of it, rain-dew resists. However, the hand of Star Genesis Supreme Deity flicks away all those authorities, and responds by merely snatching the rain-dew heavenly lord like a housefly and clenching them tight. Wu Wang. Only after seizing the rain-dew heavenly lord does the Star Genesis Supreme Deity compress the size of their main body. Yet even after shrinking for quite a while, they still maintain a size that allows them to hold the rain-dew heavenly lord in one hand like a skewer, and the Star Genesis Supreme Deity lowers their head toward the rain-dew heavenly lord. As if a giant looks down at a tiny bug, the rain-dew heavenly lord trembles all over. The skin of Star Genesis Supreme Deity is so pale it is nearly transparent, and beyond that pale skin, faint sea of stars and galaxy clusters flow. Not only their dragon robe, but their whole body is like a strange cosmic life form made of sea of stars. Truly overwhelmed by that cosmic terror, unable to come to their senses from the presence alone, the rain-dew heavenly lord only lets out a sigh. Is this the end of the Radiance Hall? It is when they think so. I, in the name of Star Genesis Supreme Deity, speak thus. The mouth of Star Genesis Supreme Deity Seo Unyan opens. His breath is beyond interstellar wind, a cosmic force that pushes aside an entire galaxy cluster. O Radiance Hall, including you, Rain-Dew, shall cherish and love your friends and enter the true path for your belief of freedom. This is a decree I make in my name. It will be the only method by which you pay the price for the grace you have received from the myriad stars until now. What? The Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord looks up at the Star Genesis Supreme Deity, who wields authority similar to Vast Cold in their prime, and asks back. And a miracle happens. Flash. The god-killing spears that Rain-Dew threw burst out from the Star Genesis Supreme Deity's left hand, and those who supplied energy to those spears are projected in their past forms by the authority of the immortal Beast King. And at some moment, flash, the Akashic records embedded in the head realm tremble, and by the authority of the immortal Beast King, the Great Forest Heavenly Lord, Flower Plant Heavenly Lord, Great Sun Heavenly Lord, Torch Candle Heavenly Lord, Pearl Jade Heavenly Lord, and Great Sea Heavenly Lord, who were absorbed by the origin essence of light and melted into the head realm, all revive at once. What on earth are you doing? The Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord cannot understand. The existence before their eyes is far too abnormal. Therefore, they even feel horror. As a survivor of the vast cold Great War, the Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord knows the identity of that horror. It is not simply fear of strong authority. The underworld also possesses such authority. The identity of this horror is fear of the unknown. Why in the world do you save us? This is as if. Recalling that past vast cold Great War in which vast cold embraced even the Radiant's 8 immortals with endless benevolence, they go into a fit. Are you forgiving us? Yes. At that single word that evokes vast cold, the Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord truly falls into a panic. They truly begin to fear the Star Genesis Supreme Deity. Do not forgive us. The Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord begins to beg Seo Eun-yun. Ender, hate us, resist us. We have hunted you, we have cleansed you, and we have killed you and made weapons from the remnants of your soul. Oh Ender, already, they have once received incomprehensible, unknown affection from vast cold. As a result, in the chests of the 8 immortals, including the Rain-Dew Heavenly Lord, the heart vast cold left behind became a seed, and made them all go mad. If they receive incomprehensible forgiveness here once more, there is no knowing how much more they will go mad as the price. Thus Rain-Dew, sobbing, begs. Do not forgive us. Do not drive us mad. Hate us. I do not hate you. And that plea is ignored with ruthless coldness. Seo Eun-yun, gripping the entirety of the Radiant's 7 immortals in both hands, now whispers toward the Heavenly Lords that look so very little. That whisper becomes a storm and embeds something into the chests of the Radiant's 7 immortals. You surely have watched us, have tried to exterminate us, and have tried to kill us. But precisely because of so, only we can forgive you. Only we, who across generations have been massacred by you. Kugugugu, replacing the price of the debt relationship imposed upon the Radiant's 7 immortals by instead solely breathing his convictions into them, Seo Eun-yun releases the Radiant's 7 immortals from his hands. However, even though they are released from his hands, not a single one can even think to strike back at him. Can forgive you and sever the ring of grace and resentment. Pot, become our friends. Is this the prophecy you placed upon the next sword spear candidate? It will not work. It is not a prophecy. This is. Seo Eun-yun's gaze touches the foremost among the spiral of spirits circling around him. It reaches the spirit of Wal Ryong, dressed in pure white and praying. Only a request. For, regardless, the prophecy has already twisted. I can guess to some extent the reason for ascending to supreme deity. An error must have occurred in the flow of beginning, development, twist, conclusion. The fate of an ender proceeds only if one loses the person one loves. But after I received Hyunghwa's heart, not once did I think I lost her. We are always together. Therefore, at the last moment, I recalled her teaching and did the same for Wal Ryong. It is a fate I granted, but I twisted it and produced an error. I produced an error in the same manner as Hyunghwa so that I am engraved forever in her heart. Thus, the fate of the Radiant's 8 immortals becoming the friends of the Enders cannot be realized. Now it depends solely on their free will. Radiance Hall, I hope you find freedom. Not only freedom within fate, but freedom that can go beyond fate as well. I sincerely bless them with that heart, and as they receive my blessing, they act as if they cannot understand. They only look at me, fearful and more fearful, and run away. I do not bother to seize them, and at the lower area of Mount Sumeru, I look up at a single heavenly seat. There, my imperial throne and the name of Star Genesis Supreme Deity appear. I now obtained the formal authority to go outside Mount Sumeru, and I also feel I obtained the authority to climb Mount Sumeru and become a heavenly venerable. And, I look again at below. The summit of Mount Sumeru, the apex. There, I feel the gate that GWAKM began to open with Penglai Island. Wu Wang, in the distance, I see my comrades faintly drawn to that gate. Yes, even if the Enders want to avoid it, we cannot avoid the decisive battle with the future king. The beginning, development, twist, conclusion is precisely attraction force. Therefore, that attraction force is bound to draw the Enders somehow. Single quote. Then why am I not being drawn? Perhaps it is because I did not become a heavenly king. And what on earth is my fate? In the 2012 cycle, I defeated the great mountain supreme deity. And now, having regressed with only my power and the power of the imperial venerables, we are in the 2013th cycle. On the first day of the 2013th cycle, I finally reached the apex of immortal cultivation, seized the immortal cultivation system, and became a supreme deity. At the same time, I at last realize that the memories of the 16th cycle have been unlocked. No, rather than unlocked, it feels like I obtained viewing permission. And, at that moment, shiver, goosebumps begin to rise all over my body. It is not only me. The heavenly venerable of the underworld begins to rend Mount Sumeru and descend, with their Gandhara itself. Beginning with them, Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon, Kong Min-hee, Oh Yun-sok, Kim Yeon, Oh Hai-seo. Gather by my side and glare at one place. Woo, the entire universe begins to wail. Everything in the Sumeru Three Heavens Great Thousand World begins to feel that presence. ... They are calling. With a dark face, the heavenly venerable of the underworld looks to the end of Mount Sumeru. They look toward the direction of the head realm's gate. That one has felt the shattering of an ender's fate and has awakened. ... Speaking incomprehensible words, the underworld grows tense, and I also raise my tension for now. All prepare. At the following words of the heavenly venerable of the underworld, we all glare at one place. The future King Fate Supreme Deity is calling you. At last, our conclusion is approaching. 782. Goosebumps spread over my whole body, and my body keeps trembling. However, the ones I worry about most are not me. I look over the faces of my comrades. Kim Young-hoon, having not been able to rest even after the great mountain battle, is in tatters. Jaeon Myung-hoon is likewise exhausted from warring against the Radiance 8 Immortals, and he still seems overstrained as he still keeps the Jade Pivot 48 Lightning Heavenly Great Immortals who aim to strike at his back in check even now. Kong Min-hee is the very one who was directly sucked into the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea, and even amidst it, helped in the Great Mountain battle through falling flowers, so her fatigue has not faded. Oh Yun-sok looks the most energetic, but only relative to the others. His body was torn apart from the aftershocks of Great Mountain and my attacks, so there is no way his condition is normal. Kim Yeon had her arm shattered while refining Jiwa, so her right arm is unusable, and she is also worn out since she was likewise blocking the Radiance 8 Immortals. Oh Hai-seo did nothing in the battle, but she traversed the timeline itself and pierced through the veil of world lines to move, so her body is in tatters. Everyone except me, who is newly reborn as a supreme deity, is in the worst possible state. As if reading my thoughts, the underworld opens their mouth. Come, Young-sung, Kugugugu. At that single utterance, Young-sung who is nearby appears around us, transforms into a transformation form, and prostrates. Please give me thy command, owner of the underworld. I shall communicate with your master. Yes, if that is your wish. TSTSTSTSTs. Along with Young-sung's words, his gaze changes and becomes the same gaze as the heavenly venerable of time. It seems a rest period is needed. Cheon-woon seems to grasp what I want at once and nods. And the underworld speaks to them. Not only the heavenly kings, but also grant a spell by which even the underworld 10 great kings inside his body can recover. Since I am borrowing your power anyway, it seems better to have even the underworld 10 great kings recover so that they allow me to properly descend as well. Good. I shall teach a secret art that can adjust time. A secret art of time that can give everyone time to recover. I can manipulate time myself as well, however. For those of our level, twisting space-time with attraction force or explosions is nothing. But the real problem is not manipulating space-time, but that for beings of our level, space-time manipulation has almost no effect. No matter how we manipulate time to give comrades a period of rest, they do not feel it. Now that my comrades have risen to the governing immortal rank called Heavenly King, even if time is manipulated for them, it barely applies, and time is likely to glance off. To begin with, the reason those of governing immortal rank are hardly affected by my regression is also because of that high rank. However, Cheon-woon shakes their head as if they understand my concern, and speaks. I know what you worry about. But what I recommend is a different secret art. A different secret art. A secret art of time disjunction that is effective even on those of heavenly venerable rank like heavenly kings. Effective even on those of heavenly venerable rank. Indeed. However, this secret art demands a sacrifice from the user. To grant time to existences of heavenly king rank, an existence of the same governing immortal rank must sacrifice a soul. I hear those words and nod. I will do it. ... Are you truly fine with it? They look at the underworld with worry, and the underworld nods. Look at his eyes, time. He will never refuse sacrifice. But, underworld, if it is his soul, although even a portion can create time to aid the recovery of his comrades, yet before an important battle, would it not reduce the strength of the most important fighting power? If that worries you, how about you be the one to sacrifice? You know it. I, who gave up the Gandhara, am now only nominally a heavenly venerable, far too lacking to be called a governing immortal. I am not saying to sacrifice for the enders. The underworld whispers something to time, and time nods with a slightly reluctant expression. Well, if it is only one immortal lord, very well. I shall help. Then I will speak of the location where that secret art is recorded. Wo Wang, the heavenly venerable of time, extends their hand toward Radiance Hall, from which all true immortals have now departed. Kuguging. Then, from deep within the palace, the gentle starlight of the source river explodes and something pours down. A woodblock. It is a gigantic woodblock. I do not know what material this woodblock is made from, but it reeks of the musty, filthy smell of death, and a scent of hatred and resentment that seems to evoke the corpse mountain blood sea gushes forth. Long ago, I took the ancient agate as a disciple and taught them the secret arts of time. It was a favor I granted, thinking their authority could move the heavenly void furnace and become a key to seize the control rights of the head realm from the torch candle heavenly lord, but in the end, my goodwill became calamity, becoming the first step by which they were caught and killed by the Radiance 10 heavens. The dark red steel-like woodblock exudes ominous energy, but at the same time, that energy is at best at the vestige liberation immortal level, so it does not look that threatening. It was my greed. In the end, the very first ender I took as a disciple was caught before even reaching upper immortal and was refined by the castle wall heavenly lord, in turn becoming a case where only the source river secret arts they learned from me were offered up as tribute to Radiance Hall. Perhaps from then on, the source river entered the grasp of Radiance Hall. This is my original sin, so I give it to you enders. I take hold of the woodblock. I guess they are handing it over indirectly because if they directly transmit the secret art, even a spec could become a calamity. Wo Wang. I look over the secret arts of the source river inscribed on the woodblock and nod. Back in my Sword Mountain Devil Lord days, a few of the sealing arts the Radiance 8 immortals used to seal me were in fact derived and slightly modified from these secret arts. Indeed, they are secret arts that can bring calamity upon us. It is powerful, especially the secret art they propose to grant us rest time. This immortal art called seed plot of disjunction te is so powerful that, had I received it directly from time, even I would receive a mild calamity to the level where the tip of my pinky finger would feel itchy from time to time. If I add a bit of flesh here and there, it rather comes close to a mantra. Even so, since it is an immortal art of rank lower than not only the impermanent sword but also the extinguishing divine tribulating heavens technique in Mahayuga, having become a supreme deity, I can grasp it right away without much difficulty. Having mastered the immortal art in an instant, I become familiar with it through 2 or 3 practices, then look at my comrades. Quote. Right, for now, let's rest and hear the situation. Kim Young-hoon, exhausted from flying from the past to the present, immediately nods, and the other comrades also all agree in unison. In that case, everyone, please come into my body for a moment. I exhale and transfer my comrades into my body for a while. Wo Wang. It would be nice if you put me in as well. I too, need some time to talk. A faint silver divine, spirit's phantom shimmers beside me, and the sword extreme heavenly sword rings. It is Jiwa. She meets eyes with Wal Ryong, who stands at the forefront of the spiraling halo of light circling around me, and speaks. I nod and also place Wal Ryong and Jiwa into my body. Then, I begin to activate the secret art in earnest. Wang, the 7 stars harnessing God banner circles around me. Immortal art, seed plot of disjunction. Immediately after, the 7 stars harnessing God banner all at once burrow into my flesh. Kwajijijik, a portion of my spirit. Rather than spirit, a portion of consciousness so faint that it should rather be called mental strength is torn away, and it activates seed plot of disjunction. Kugugugu. As the consciousness made into a heavenly domain is torn, a part of my heavenly domain collapses. The secret art of seed plot of disjunction is to inject a divine object imbued with a part of my spirit into whatever space I desire, and twist the time flow of that space through that divine object. Through it, I can make the space-time of that space flow thousands of times faster, or thousands of times slower. Oodoodoodook. The time flow of the space within my body speeds up. Oodoodoodook. But at the same time, is it because those who feel that time flow are heavenly kings? The one strand of my spirit used in the immortal art hastily collapses. The seed plot of disjunction is a secret art that disjoints the time flow of the desired space and, through that disjunction, seizes the space-time of that space. It is a pity that my spirit collapses quickly. But in any case, for the sixth form of the Severing Heaven sword form, which aims at suppressing spacetime and is in the process of completion, a similar secret art like this is needed, so it is not a waste. At the same time, I feel 1,000 years flow swiftly inside my body. My comrades recover from their critical wounds and enter a period of recuperation to some extent. Ududuk, twisting spacetime inside my body, makes my stomach not feel good. If it were simply twisting the time of mortal being, there would be no problem, but the problem is the spacetime of my comrades. Since they have become heavenly kings, their mass is huge, so the pain of my intestines truly twisting assaults me from time to time. Of course, at this level, it is just ticklish. I calmly savor the pain and take a step toward the head realm that pulls me. First step, cooing. Inside my body, another 1,000 years pass. My comrades complete their recuperation to a certain extent, and now they stabilize their body and mind. Wal Ryong and Sword Spear talk for a long time, and wander the mountains and rivers inside my body. At times they even hold in-depth debates about my shoulders, and they restore the relationship that in the past had not always been amicable. Second step, Koog. Inside me, the underworld 10 great kings who had exhausted their strength helping me in the great mountain battle fully recover their strength and come back out again. They help the Gandhara of the underworld descend fully upon Mount Sumeru, and while the underworld's main body challenges the audience chamber, they instantly create a domain that temporarily serves the role of the afterlife. In total, 3,000 years pass inside me, the bodies and minds of my comrades recover considerably, and now they begin to recover their energy. Jaeon Myung-hoon regains the martial might to kneel once more the Jade Pivot 48 lightning heavenly great immortals, who have been constantly aiming for his back. Third step, cooing. Inside my body, 4,000 years pass. My comrades restore all their energy, and within the time of these past years in which they have run without rest, they further repentantly enlighten themselves on their own authorities and take time to look back on their own lives. Fourth step, cooing. Within my body, 5,000 years pass. From this point, I also involve myself in my comrades' rest. No matter how disjointed the time is, if I accelerate my consciousness, it is at a level one can easily catch up to. So, for 1,000 years, I unwind with my comrades, share the affection I could not share in all kinds of places with Yian, and, from time to time, reminisce about the old days in the same house with Kong Minhee and share a deep and steady friendship. We also try rebuilding modern civilization under the lead of Kim Yian. Of course, we do not create living beings. We only try restoring cities across the earth. By Kim Young-hoon's memories, Shanghai in China. By Jaeon Myung-hoon's memories, Tokyo. By Kong Minhee, Washington in the United States. By Oh Yun-sok, Berlin in Germany. By Kim Yian, the South Pole and the North Pole, and Greenland. By Oh Hai-seo, the whole of Korea, the whole of India, the whole of Primorsky Krai, and the whole of the United Kingdom are restored. I manifest the magic artifacts and Dharma treasures used in modern civilization. I manifest the magic artifacts that run even without horses, the magic artifacts that fly in the sky, and the square voice transmission magic artifacts, and after a long time I enjoy fun amusements with my comrades. Although the names do not readily come to mind, my comrades who have lived in Mount Sumeru for hundreds of thousands of years are in the same boat, so everyone turns off their concern about the names and decides to call them however is convenient. No, are you saying none of you even remember Excel, you useless brats? Oh Hai-seo, though she herself does not properly remember, pretends to remember and tries to deceive us, but I ignore it as I decided not to be fooled by her. With the six-sided club game I learned from my master, together with the comrades who hold grudges, we hung upside down and thoroughly beat the prankster Oh Hai-seo who made trouble for us all this time, and we resolved the small grudges that remained. I also hear a sincere apology from Oh Hai-seo, and after extracting films, novels, plays, and the like from her memories, whose memory is on the good side. We even gather like a family and watch movies together as a group. It is a bit hard because words of earth we cannot understand come out from time to time, but with understanding that reaches governing immortal we all grasp the context without any problem, and while studying earth words again as we appreciate them, it feels rather good. We travel all around the world, go to the moon, and even make a simulated stellar system of the star system where Earth used to be and visit places like Jupiter and the Sun. We also go on trips to places we want to visit. Fifth step, cooing, 6,000-year mark. Led by Wal Ryong, the Wuji religious order is reconstituted. The corpse mountain blood sea that had swallowed the Wuji religious order, now under Wal Ryong's lead, becomes once again an order that serves me. Wal Ryong becomes my first believer and begins to pray for me. From that day, while I unwind with my companions, I also hear the prayers of those who pray to me. The majority are from the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea, but there are also ordinary living beings in the Sumeru Three Heavens Great Thousand World who offer prayers to me, the newly born Star Genesis Supreme Deity. O God of stars, I marvel at your enlightenment. O owner of stars, I, Yoon of the entering Nirvana stage, who is learning the shamanistic methods. Serve you. O owner of myriad stars. I am Ban Ta. I have perceived that a new great owner of divine providence has been born. Please listen to my pra. O owner of myriad stars. This Baek-woon prays to you. This time, my direct descendant challenges the star-shattering stage. They entered the black ghost valley that follows the will of the underworld and accumulated cultivation, and I made them accumulate good deeds so they resemble thee. I implore the great star divine spirit to protect them. Oot, UUUUT. UGGGK. D. Did you hear, Glass? They say a star divine spirit has been newly born. Now, all the stars are like their eyes. If we do it under the stars, it is no different from countless eyes watching us. Come, let us show them. Let us show ourselves clearly to those countless star eyes. Behold, star divine spirit. One living spirit of the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea. Yoon of the entering Nirvana stage. Baek-woon's voice that I heard after a long time. Azure Pung, who now rings Glass Peacock, putting a chain on their neck, and in the form of a sultry horsehead nebula, is intermingling with Peacock. Important prayers and useless prayers alike pour endlessly into me. And as I listen to the prayers of the countless living spirits of Mount Sumeru, I can come to understand how many, to heavens or to the stars, offer prayers. Who, with my breath, I bless them. I scatter, together with starlight, the light of repentant enlightenment so that they can know that the light of the heavens to which they pray, and the myriad stars to which their prayers reach, are not unreachable wishes but the very ground they tread. Kuguging, and the underworld's Gandhara main body, which the underworld 10 great kings diligently began summoning when I took 3 steps, at last begins to appear. O karmic mirror, reflect the sacred body of the imperial venerable. The underworld 10 great kings, lined up in proper ritual, all raise their hands before the enormous mirror summoned by Yan Luo. Beyond that mirror, cosmic darkness is reflected. Immediately after the mirror breaks away, and the being beyond the mirror begins to cross over to Mount Sumeru. Do. It does not force its way by tearing the boundary, but the underworld's Gandhara descends by formally following the procedure. Their presence spreads throughout the entire Sumeru Three Heavens Great Thousand World. Spirits move to the temporary underworld, and the underworld's wheel remains there and governs the reincarnation of the spirits. Do you intend to leave the wheel behind? If I am to borrow power from the circulation of spirits within Mount Sumeru, rather than taking it directly, it is instead better to transmit power from here. Do not worry, if it is my Gandhara, it does not fall behind vast cold. And, the underworld looks at me and speaks. As you are now, though in pure weight class you may fall a little short of vast cold, in true full power you can seize the initiative against them. And, she points out several forces I am hiding and speaks. Perhaps with your authority as Immortal Beast King, the power of Martial Pinnacle, and those sentient beings of that Corpse Mountain Blood Sea left by the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, and the power of those whom you call Wuji, you can push everything into a rampant state and even guarantee victory against vast cold who surpasses this girl as she is now. You are gilding my face. Excessive modesty is also arrogance. You objectively possess that force. And, if you add that as well, you can even contend with this girl's total power. .. Exclamation mark. I sigh as I gauge the underworld's insight and the power she hides. ... Even though powers of this degree are added, and there is even word from Silver Basket to join, I cannot even guess whether we can win against the being beyond the audience chamber. And at last, I take the 6th step. Cooing. Inside my body, 7,000 years of time pass. Kung. My comrades, each prepared in perfect readiness, appear at my side all at once. I hold the sword Extreme Heavenly Sword, and the spirits of the Wuji religious order that used to be the Corpse Mountain Blood Sea follow behind me. At the same time, when the underworld snaps her fingers, I feel my soul that was spent on twisting my comrades' time quickly recover. This is, sensing the coupling of Glass Peacock and Azure Pung that I heard during the prayers, I come to understand. The underworld asked the Heavenly Venerable of Time to set up the seed plot of disjunction on the two who together are one immortal lord, making Their time flew quickly, and she injected into me the power of life that gushed from that union. I give the underworld a brief nod, then I glance back for a moment. Ah, truly, it was a life with many things. The underworld, summoned in complete form, steps forward with a hardened expression. I also take the final step, and at the center of the brow of the head realm that begins to open. I reach out my hand toward the strange fissure that appears as the head realm splits in half. Let's go. Thus, within 7 steps I shake off all lingering attachments and advance toward that gate. Toward the audience chamber. By us, the gate begins to swing open. 783. Do. An indescribably chilling surge of energy faces us. The head realm splits. And what faces us is a strange attraction force that lies between the head realm. That attraction force connects to the vast cold realm, and it is something far too familiar to us. Ascension Gate. It is the Ascension Gate that Yongsu Jin made. And the moment I see it, I understand what it means. Tiring. It is not simply a gate that leads to the vast cold realm. Goo. As I am sucked into the fissure, I come to understand something. My comrades also seem to realize something, as they all at once stretch their hands toward the attraction force of that Ascension Gate. For mortals beings that are below the heavenly being stage, the Ascension Gate is a gigantic concept like a gate, or a path, but for us who reach the rank of governing immortal, it feels like a faint thread. And the meaning of that thread is not simply to ascend to the vast cold realm. The thread of a labyrinth. Kong Minhee mutters as she winds that attraction force around her hand. It is Yongsu Jin's consideration so that juniors who enter the audience chamber can flee back inside Mount Sumeru. If one fears defeating the future king, it is Yongsu Jin's will to let one come back down to Mount Sumeru and live a little longer. We, excluding Underworld, all tie to our wrists the red thread, the attraction force of the Ascension Gate that Yongsu Jin left behind. Rather than fleeing from the future king, it is more so we feel the heart of our predecessor. Suat. Thus, together with my comrades, I set foot toward the world that I expect to be the audience chamber. Western Heavenly Venerable, Netherworld Queen Mother Bong Hua. Star Genesis Supreme Deity Seo Eun-yun. Golden Speed Heavenly King Kim Young-hoon. Red Pearl Cycling Heavenly King Jaeon Myung-hoon. Lapis Lazuli Flower Heavenly King Kong Min-hee. Silver Nameless Heavenly King Oh Yun-sok. Tridacna Vast Cold Heavenly King Kim Yeon. Agate Auspicious Heavenly King Oh Hai Seo. A grand host of governing immortals totaling 8. They enter the audience chamber, and the first to sense an anomaly is Bong Hua. Woo. I see. So it is you, gatekeeper. Do. The gatekeeper of the audience chamber. The emptiness supreme deity Myung Woon stares at Bong Hua with the eyes of sun and moon. Step aside. There are 8 governing immortals. I do not wish to bicker with the likes of you. The vessel of the origin essence of life that contains the Akashic records. She glares at the emptiness supreme deity and clenches one hand. But then, with a chilly gaze, Bong Hua looks around. Before she knows it, she has entered a strange space. It is a strange world from which Mount Sumeru is overlooked at a glance. And toward the above of that peculiar world, she feels a sacred sanctuary where an overwhelming presence is felt. The gateway that leads to the audience chamber. A space of primordial origin from which all of heaven and earth is overlooked. If she just proceeds forward, she will reach the audience chamber. Yes, if she just walks, she will so very easily reach it. The other enders are not in sight. Perhaps, by the emptiness supreme deity, they are undergoing a trial of facing the gatekeeper. At this vaguely unpleasant, biased trial, Bong Hua decides not to enter the audience chamber right away and instead to wait for the other enders to pass their trials. In any case, these enders are the golden generation. There is the unfathomable variable named Seo Eun-yun that cannot be guessed or understood, but even setting that aside, it is a never-before-seen, absurd lineup of power the likes of which has never existed. They cannot possibly fail a mere trial, so it is enough to wait a little. Just when she thinks so. Flutter. Suddenly, Bong Hua sees a strip of paper fly past her side. It is a part of a book. Though its title cannot be seen, clearly. It is a story about a protagonist who suffers from their connections and ascends. Flutter. And taking that as the lead, countless sheets of paper start to fly around her. Those sheets differ in depiction, but all depict a story about a single existence. That appearance is much like the celestial Lord incense burning that Seo Eun-yun left behind before going to the outer sea, but it exudes a far more sacred feeling. From Mount Sumeru, innumerable sheets fly and begin to soar toward the audience chamber. Seeing this, the eyes of the heavenly venerable of the underworld Bong Hua widen. Gradually, the chilling energy that all beings of Mount Sumeru, including her, feel begins to subside. As if beings of lower rank do not even have the qualification to dare to perceive that existence. Seeing this, Bong Hua, leaving behind the enders undergoing the trial, grits her teeth and advances toward the audience chamber. As if the truth of the history in the audience chamber, torn away in the audience chamber, comes to mind. Woo, a dark starry heaven. It looks like a night sky lit by starlight, yet the starlight is too powerless, and the darkness is too strong. That dark world is like a labyrinth. However, there is one existence who gropes through that labyrinth and tries to reach its edge. It is the blonde man, Kim Young-hoon. Chiok. At last, Kim Young-hoon reaches the edge of the labyrinth. All heaven and earth are darkness, and what is felt is something like a door seen before his eyes. That gigantic door, which looks much more like a human door than the head realm gate they passed through, gives a feeling of being powerfully in contact with Kim Young-hoon's essence. Woo, the strange wailing felt from somewhere. I see, so you are the emptiness supreme deity. Kim Young-hoon, within that wail, receives the strange feeling he felt whenever he saw the head realm and recognizes its identity. Is this the trial you impose on us? Kim Young-hoon suddenly feels the urge to cut this gate down. Well then, I should at least give it a try. Wong. The moment Kim Young-hoon takes his stance, a golden flash of a fleeting instant bores into the door. Jaejayong. A golden wave spreads through all heaven and earth, and the dark world brightens for a moment. At the same time, the form of the door within that darkness appears even more distinctly. That gate is as if the universe is compressed into the form of a gate. Innumerable starlights swirl within the door, and countless constellations within the door emit sacred light and form strange shapes. However, that is all. Kim Young-hoon's single strike only leaves a scratch on the door. He fails to cut the door down. Well, if I spend some time, I can probably cut it down. But the moment he cut, he understood. This is not made to be cut. It is a door meant to be reached, looking back upon oneself, and testing one's own enlightenment. Kim Young-hoon stands before the door and speaks while putting forth his Tao. Enlightenment. I have obtained it. Wo Wang. Kim Young-hoon's voice strikes the door and returns as an echo. And that echo reaches him as a completely diverse question. What is your enlightenment? My enlightenment is. Kim Young-hoon closes his eyes and slowly recalls his entire life. Meeting his wife and loving her. Seeing his children and devoting his whole life to them. Becoming a department director. Getting caught in a landslide while going on a company workshop. Falling to ascension path. Remaining with Seo Eun-yun, and ranging across the martial world. And in that process, by Seo Eun-yun's regression, repeating more than a few times, gradually improving, and all those things that lead him to this very place engrave themselves in his mind. Carrying his enlightenment, Kim Young-hoon slowly brings his hand to the door. I realize how much this life is filled with things one can rejoice in, how much I can trust people, and how far I can climb. His eyes blaze with gold. At the same time, his hand also burns with gold. A single life is a fleeting spring dream. However, precisely because of this, the life within the fleeting instant is joy beyond compare. TSTSTSTSTSTSTS. The gold spreading out from Kim Young-hoon's hand grows stronger and begins to push the door hard. Life is joy. Voicing the enlightenment that pierces through his whole life, Kim Young-hoon begins to push the door wide open. A space of darkness. Jaeon Myung-hoon looks at the door before his eyes. It is a strange door, as if it models the universe. And seeing the countless constellations engraved on the door, he tilts his head. I feel like I've seen these constellations somewhere before. However, he cannot tell what they are. Well, it probably isn't that important. Jaeon Myung-hoon pulls for red lightning. Kurururum. Within the red lightning, he prepares a single strike filled with his sincerity. Entering heavens beyond the path. 80 quadrillion lightning-tipped spear. The strongest ultimate technique of a governing immortal unfolds from his hand as a spear of mortality. The red spear directly strikes the door as is, and the ultimate technique that contains all of Jaeon Myung-hoon shatters outright. He realizes. This door is not a door meant to receive attacks. Is it to test oneself? He quietly brings his hand to the door. Wo Wang. The sounds born from Jaeon Myung-hoon's movements return as echoes, carrying the question of some existence. What enlightenment have you obtained? Jaeon Myung-hoon closes his eyes. He was born into an affluent family and lived his whole life without lack. There was a time when he entered his family's company, sat there idly, killed time, and tried to pick up women. He also met a guy he didn't like. It was a guy named Seo Eun-yun. He tried to bully him and drive him out. He even made a plan to disgrace him at the workshop. Then he met a landslide and fell into a strange world. There, he stepped onto the path of immortal cultivation, came to love, and gradually grew as a human being. And he lost all of it and ended up shouting only anger. But vengeance did not come to pass, and he only repeated dying miserably in the wilderness. However, by Seo Eun-yun, he repeated, and repeated. And gradually, by riding along with the regression, he came to receive salvation. He did not save everyone, but he saved some. He, who had only gone on dying without crossing a certain realm, did not die, advanced forward, reached great net immortal, and faced the heavenly punishment supreme deity. Thus, having completed all revenge and become a heavenly king, he has come to this place. I was angry, therefore I accepted others' anger. Thus, I accepted becoming the ring of anger itself. Anger is, after all, for circulation. As long as the world cycles, the existence that is him is needed as well. Life is a cycle, therefore, the anger that becomes the driving force of that cycle is life itself. Life is anger. Putting forward the enlightenment that pierces through his whole life, Jaeon Myung-hoon thrusts forward his reddened hand with force. Red light brightens the darkness and pushes the door open. In the darkness, Kang Min-hee looks at the door before her eyes and comes to understand something. This is, she has spent ages under the underworld, doing nothing but drawing tangwa. No one can recognize better than her diagrams that symbolize something. Immortal cultivation system, the strange constellations floating and shining within that door, as if someone crammed a heavenly domain within. A schematization of the immortal cultivation system. She realizes that this great door is, more than she expected, a high-ranking existence. I see, and she realizes, without even bothering to attack, that she cannot break through and pass. For the immortal cultivation system is not something like a mere law. It is the path she has learned, and also another self of hers. Her own self. There is nothing in the world as strong as that. If she is to break this door, she must be prepared to break herself. Knock, knock. She knocks on the door. Its echo spreads and returns as a question. What is your enlightenment? Kang Min-hee looks back on her life. Since childhood, a ghost clung to her. Because of the ghost, she could not become close with anyone, and only upon becoming an adult did she become close with Seo Eun-yun. She liked Seo Eun-yun. Although their relationship became uncomfortable, still, all his actions brought warmth to a corner of her heart. Originally, after coming back from the workshop, she planned to state her intent to resign. For Seo Eun-yun, so that he no longer feels uncomfortable with her. In any case, Jaeon Myung-hoon was hitting on her in a filthy way, so the reason for resignation was sufficient. But a landslide occurred, and she was dragged to Black Ghost Valley. Receiving the teachings of Heo Gwak and the sages of Black Ghost Valley, she gained control of herself and gradually drew near to death. She awakened as the ghost guiding Holy Mother, and was subjugated by Jang Ik. However, in the life that repeated because of Seo Eun-yun, she at last received salvation. It was always a life of only being protected. She wanted to protect as well. But she could not protect. Not only Seo Eun-yun, but even his daughter. TSTSTSTSTs. From within Kang Min-hee's heart, something begins to bloom. It is the aggregation of her hearts that has been suppressed under her absolute. That which does not let sorrow flow only is sorrow. It is the soul. As she looks back on her own life, her eyes blaze blue. Kang Min-hee's blue hair becomes even clearer. One protects one another, and is also protected by each other, and at times fails to protect. Therefore, Suat, her hand bursts into blue flame. Life is sorrow. That hand shining blue begins to push the door. But at the same time, as long as what I must protect is by my side, it is not only sorrow. Jaejeong. With Kang Min-hee's shout, the door shines ever more vigorously and begins to show her the way. Trial space. Oh Yun-sok throws a straight punch. Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter Nameless One Fist, Thrust. Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter Nameless One Fist, Thrust. Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter Nameless One Fist, Thrust. Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter. Kwang, 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 kwang. Huick, huick. He wipes his sweat and rubs his fist that feels numb. Quote. Strange. I reached the governing immortal rank, yet how is it that only faint marks remain against me? Oh Yun-sok is already, in himself, a law. Therefore, No matter what law is before his eyes, if it is struck by him, there must be at least some change. For it is a collision of laws. Just what in the world is this made of? Kuwang, Oh Yun-sok, a little vexed, places his fist against the door and glares at it. But suddenly, he realizes something. This is the door that is like a transparent universe. Inside that door, something reflects. It is Oh Yun-sok himself. For some reason, he feels a bit embarrassed. Damn, was I hitting myself? Oh Yun-sok knows what he should do. Wo Wang, his own voice becomes an echo and returns as a question. What could be your enlightenment, that you knock upon the door? My enlightenment. Oh Yun-sok recalls his daughter who wanted to follow him. At the same time, he recalls his child on earth that was lost to a miscarriage. Countless memories flash through his mind. Not being ashamed before myself. That being the path to truly live with a smile. That is my enlightenment, because this world is one where those who wish not to be ashamed keep on living, tussling with one another. He shouts boisterously, life is pleasure. Suat, his fist blazes silver and begins to push the door. But at the same time, his soul resounds and blazes even more. However, at the same time it is much more than that. It cannot be expressed, for that is the teaching he gained upon meeting the being called Chung Min. If one is a man, it has always been that you prove yourself with nothing but your own two fists. Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter, Zero Wing, Nameless One Fist, Thrust. Recalling the words of Azure Tiger Saint, Oh Yun-sok heartedly puts power into his fist and forcefully shoves the door open. Inside Mount Sumeru, in every heavenly domain there, all those of the Heart Tribe feel a strange sensation. What is this? My senses are cut in half. No, I don't think that's it, but what on earth is this? The Heart Tribe fall into great confusion. The reason is simple. Clang, the interdimensional void closes. The plane of soul does not operate. Seo Eun-yun's Heart Dao blooming and Kim Young-hoon's system support the Heart Tribe, but as they lose the functions they enjoyed through the plane of soul, they all at once speak of their discomfort. And, the source of the interdimensional void's closing. In the good sight heavenly domain, interdimensional void. There, a human-shaped something with a ponytail wears a gloomy smile. Rather than smiling, it seems to be forcing a smile while crying. Oh fate, I hate you, Northern Heavenly Venerable, True Martial Great Emperor Hyeon Mu. Heavenly Venerable of Void, that existence looks up at the sky with empty eyes and lets out an utterance. I want to die. At the same time, Hyeon Mu's body begins to scatter. Inside the interdimensional void, Hyeon Mu's Gandhara three great ultimates formed of black snakes disassembles and begins to fly off somewhere. A dark trial space. Kim Yeon slowly raises her hand there. Wu Wang, a light pink flame rises on Kim Yeon's hand and begins to push open the door. Life is love, she knows about this trial. The moment she tried to challenge the audience chamber, the lingering thought of vast cold whispered to her. Wang, Kim Yeon's soul rings. However, at the same time, it is the countless possibilities that advance from inside that love. The door opens. Kim Yeon, as vast cold's memories surge like a tide, senses that the soul of the previous Tridakna, the vast cold heavenly lord, is not far away. Come, child, make up for my mistake, and seize them by the ankle. Kim Yeon's eyes blaze light pink, and, hearing that one line from the vast cold heavenly lord, steels her resolve and proceeds beyond the door. A dark space. There, Oh Seo looks at the door before her eyes and strokes the surface of the door. Somehow it even feels a bit rough. From that feeling she senses the scales of her lover, Seo Weol. Seo Weol. What Seo Weol taught her was her heart. Hatred. But at the same time, Seo Weol did not teach only hatred. Seo Weol undeniably taught love as well. Hatred is not merely anger scorched and left clinging. When love breaks, and what remains cling and fester darkness, that is precisely hatred. Hatred is an emotion directly connected to love. Life is hatred. TSTSTSTSTs. Oh Seo's hand stains dark red, like tainted soul filling the heavens, and gradually pushes the door away. However, at the same time, Oh Seo's soul rings. And at some moment, light pink energy also begins to flow out from that hand. Kijijijijik. Simultaneously, the door that begins to open screeches and stops. Love is not absent either. Is it only love? There are other things as well. She just cannot define them yet. They surely exist. Oh Seo does not bother to open the door all the way. She does not bother to prove herself further. She simply wedges herself through the slightly opened crack, turns into a black shadow, and squeezes through the gap. A temporary afterlife created by the underworld 10 great kings. There lies the mantra of the heavenly venerable of the underworld, which serenely rotates and governs the reincarnation of spirits. White Wheel. Among the underworld 10 great kings managing it, the chief judge, Yama True Lord Yan Luo, judges the spirits. And senses something strange. At Yan Luo's reaction, the other underworld 10 great kings also begin to look back at the place where the wheel is located. A strange energy is being felt. What? Yan Luo reaches out a hand to normalize the flow of the wheel. But then it happens. Keek, kijijijijik, kijijijijik, cooking. As if something suddenly catches with a clunk, the wheel of reincarnation stops in place. What? Startled, Yama goes to the wheel, and the other 10 great kings also gather one after another around the wheel. Some spirit is reversing. This is a phenomenon that occasionally occurs when an existence of true immortality revives. But what kind of existence revives by reversing the wheel itself? Just what kind of existence is it, that they reverse the wheel of the imperial venerable with nothing but their spirit? This is no time for that. Everyone, gather strength. Whatever the case, it is a profane existence. By the authority of us kings, we shall reincarnate it again. O dead one, abandon the thought of revival and follow the natural order. At that moment, a radiant light bursts out from the wheel. At the same time, the wheel begins to reverse madly. That appearance is as if time is rewinding. Before my eyes, a gigantic door is visible. That door is a beautiful door with constellations floating as if symbolizing the immortal cultivation system. However, at the same time, so this is it. I recognize that this is the source of the disgust I felt whenever I looked at the head realm. Rather than simply the gaze of the future king, it is this door that is even more closely tied to the source of that disgust. Because something like this exists inside the head realm, I suppose that is why I felt so much disgust. I calmly try pushing the door. The door does not budge. Open. Even when I let out a single word laden with prophecy, the door only shudders and does not move. Rather, my voice becomes an echo and merely returns as a strange question. Have you attained enlightenment? Yes, I attained the highest enlightenment. What is that enlightenment? Quote. Having lived life, it turns out that countless beings have things they desire. I put strength into my hand. This world is filled with countless hopes. My soul begins to resound. Life is desire. I speak aloud the single phrase that I suppose is my fate, which I once glimpsed through Indra's net in the far past. Nothing happens. I glare at the door and shout. Quote. What? Was this the answer you wanted? Wu Wang. I lift my hand. Don't make me laugh. I am a sword. My hand is a blade. There is nothing anywhere in this heaven and earth that can block this body. Kekwang. At my single strike, the door dents. If it is not the answer you want, you will not open the door, huh? Were you not asking me for an interpretation of life? Is it not that you have not truly realized it? At the question flowing from the door, I strike the door once again. Quagwagwang. The door dents even more. 2 strikes. With just that, the door greatly twists and crumples and its form collapses. Then I ask you this. Rather than not having truly realized it, is it not that the correct answer is already fixed? Quang. The 3rd strike. The door that takes the shape of the whole universe gradually crumples and begins to shatter. Is it not that someone blindly set a chosen correct answer and forced it upon us by their own standard alone? Have they not denied everything else is incorrect if it is not that answer? Kekwang. Not only the door, but cracks begin to spread through the entire dark space in which the door is set. I look back on my life. There stands gracious soul filling the heavens, transformed from the canvas of myriad forms and connections. I grew up in an ordinary family, went to an ordinary school, entered an ordinary military unit, and became an ordinary adult. Then I entered an ordinary company somewhere between a small to medium-sized business, and I fell into an unordinary world. In that world I met countless teachers. Then I ask you, what is life? Life is Daisy. Wrong. Quang. Creak. The entire space begins to collapse, and now the door almost loses its shape, leaving only the sense that it used to be a door. Was what I gave you also a curse? Perhaps everything began from that. However, it is something I was already enjoying even before that. In this life, nothing at all is a given. Life is a miracle, because it never returns. Because a person's present is absolutely not a given, this life is more precious and thankful than anything. Therefore, surely this world is a miracle itself. Quang. My knife hand thus smashes even the last remaining form of the door and brings down the entire trial space. The entirety of the space called the trial space presses on me and begins to pin me so I can never go forward. Oh defective product, be nailed to this place. Even though life is a miracle, is it truly the will of the heavens to not acknowledge it? I shout toward the will I presume to be the master of this space. Then, oh heavens, Yurururum, if space presses me, I cut space itself. If time strangles me, I break time itself. Kuriririk, the technique I completed recently by seizing the time that belongs to me through the seed plot of disjunction. Wu Wang, gracious soul filling the heavens settles in my hand. Naturally fusing with the impermanent sword, gracious soul filling the heavens becomes a blade stronger than anything. With the light of flower soul filling the heavens, I cross generations. With the power of tainted soul filling the heavens, I fix the coordinates, and I then run beyond space-time. That is gracious soul filling the heavens. Thereupon, I add to it the enlightenment regarding time and regression by the understanding of the radiance mantra, and add even the understanding I gained by devouring the Northern Dipper's 7 heavenly lords. I even internalize the method of seizing the whole universe with great mountain pressing down, and with the profundity of the severing heaven sword form I completed with the 7 steps. Suat, the sword imbued with the deer of gracious soul filling the heavens becomes a mountain lord like the will of obsidian, severing heaven sword form, final form, heavens, match yourself to me. Auspicious soul filling the heavens. My sword, which transcends time and space to arrive, smashes through all of space-time, shatters the darkness of the trail, and opens a path forward. Before my eyes, a baby appears. Chapter 784 Audience EGN. Kugugugugu. With the move of auspicious soul filling the heavens, I directly transcend space-time. I see countless timelines, and along those timelines that are like blood vessels, I see the figure of a baby who has not yet stirred in the womb. The starting point of creation, the outskirts of the Akashic records, which only GWAKM using Annihilation Advancement Wooer Kim Young-hoon with the Golden Great Thousand World barely managed to reach. Now, I can reach it by will alone. I see it, countless cycles, countless timelines faintly shimmer before my eyes. I can go back. I feel nostalgia for the distant cycles. And, over there in the distance, there is also something that looks like 16th cycle. I slowly begin to view what concerns the 16th cycle. At the same time, in one of those faraway worlds, I see someone familiar. It is Ohai Seo. So that's how it is. It is Ohai Seo of the past. It is that time when, struck by GWAKM's Annihilation Advancement Woo, she was flung all the way here and, transcending time and space, tried to bring Azure Tiger Saint. She succeeded in safely connecting to the previous space-time. At that moment, I realized something. She can't get back, can she? Indeed, it was because GWAKM used Annihilation Advancement Woo that Ohai Seo reached that place. Without something on the level of Annihilation Advancement Mu, she could not return. Single quote. My plan back then was quite reckless and left to luck alone, huh? Then, how on earth did she come back? I suddenly see her converse with the will of Chungmin inside Azure Tiger Saint. And at some moment, sorry, I'm sorry, Seo Eun-yun. Seeing her shout with sincerity, my body moves before I know it. That is a prayer toward me. I'm sorry. I very gently breathe my auspicious soul filling the heavens into the gracious soul filling the heavens of the past. She does not recognize me, who has become Star Genesis Supreme Deity, but it does not matter. I look where she is headed. I feel my eyes meet the great mountain Supreme Deity GWAKM, who is fighting me in the past. So it is. He, from the very moment he saw the white deer, he knew he would be defeated. I see. From the start, saying he was the original owner of the deer was merely empty talk. No, more precisely, it was only a part of the method to desecrate fate. He saw a being who sees the origin essence of the mountain and sent a deer across space-time, but no matter how he looked, that being was not himself. Thus, to block the fate of his defeat, he thrashed about. The one who struggled until the very end within fate was him. With Ohai Seo's heartfelt apology, even the small dregs of grudge that remained despite hanging her upside down and beating her severely completely melt away, and I hold in my chest the will of GWAKM, who did not give up to the end despite having confirmed fate. His character was vile, but in that will he is someone from whom I have something to learn. And at the same time, as I leap into the original space-time, I cannot help but feel a strange foreboding. If up to here is all fate, Can we truly escape fate? Because this foreboding does not erase even when I try to shake it off, I simply accept it. However, even while feeling ominous, even while fearing fate, I step forward. I have already walked this far. Even if I am afraid and afraid again, there is a time when I must step forward. Burning the handful of courage that remains, I begin to advance toward that future. Suat. As the original timeline returns again, the audience chamber begins to appear in the far distance. TSTSTSTSTSTs. What appears along with the audience chamber are my comrades who arrived slightly faster than me in front of the audience chamber. And it is the underworld, who, having half-stepped into the audience chamber, is staring blankly at something. Coo-goo-goo-goo-goo-goo. Exclamation mark. I see three immense things like great rivers flowing into the audience chamber. Flutter 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 flutter. The most eye-catching river is the sheets of paper spewing out across all of Mount Sumeru. Seeing that, I launch a preemptive strike toward the future king who is beyond the audience chamber. If I know the opponent is hard to defeat, seizing the initiative with the first move is the best plan. The move of Great Mountain pressing down bursts from my sword, and, having noticed my intention, Kong Minhee and Kim Yeon each unfold the mantra and immortal art of fallen flowers and Liberation Peach Garden Village. Two other worlds cover the entirety of the audience chamber, and by the laws we create, the being inside the audience chamber begins to shrink. Coo-doo-doo-dook. I enter the audience chamber together with the underworld. Do-do-do-do-do-do. What is visible inside the audience chamber is the sight of some being whose initiative was stolen, endlessly growing smaller. Kurururung. We too have some of our authorities restricted and our rank pressed down a bit, but the being before our eyes truly appears to grow smaller without end or limit. However, what is that? Though it is certain they have shrunk to an immense degree, they still appear as large as the underworld's Gandhara or my main body. This place is. I quickly look around. Grasping the surrounding environment is the cornerstone for victory. And I cannot help but freeze. To the point I even stop perusing the 16th cycle and must stare around this place for a moment. This place is. Now I remember. We, here, made a contract with that. Right after suffering the landslide. And just before falling into Ascension Path. Our start was here. Did we come from the audience chamber? The surroundings are a vast starry sky. Innumerable clusters of light sparkle, and what is visible ahead are the symbol of a great black snake biting its tail, and next to that symbol, a small birdcage made of iron bars of all colors. And beneath that symbol in the birdcage, on both sides of the jade throne, two faint shapes of circles waver as if about to scatter. The moment I gaze straight at them, wisdom seeps in, and I can know what they are. The absolute of fate, totality Quan Bu. The absolute of history, omniscience Quan Ji. And finally, the absolute of miracle, sincerity Quan Shin. I see. Understanding the true name of the third absolute that I have not known until now, I cannot help but fall into a certain reflection. At the same time, I realize that quite a lot of clues have been telling me the name of the third absolute. To utter shattering heaven is only possible if there is an absurd miracle. Such a thing is absurd, but if it is not a miracle, there is no escaping its gaze. Therefore this seat, relying only upon the possibility of a miracle, leaves here a warning for later generations. Yang Su Jin's miracle did not simply speak of an absurd probability. Enders bring about miracles. It was a clue that was even more intuitive than expected. From the very beginning, we are beings that split off from the miracle. I see. My answer is not wrong, but with no time to fall into reflection, the black existence sitting upon the jade throne begins to move. Coo-goo-goo-goo-goo-goo. I feel nothing at all. As if the terrifying aura that blanketed the world a moment ago is a lie, it is a presence like emptiness. But that, instead, is even more frightening and horrifying. For the fact I do not feel any energy at all. As though a being with a low rank cannot even sense their presence. Upper Dantian, Middle Dantian, Lower Dantian. A being with holes pierced through the 3 Dantian begins to awaken, and their 3 Dantians begin to fill. Flutter flutter flutter. Seeing that, I start to recall the explanation of someone that I heard in the 16th cycle. Stories are originally cruel, but reality can be even more cruel. By any chance, have you ever looked up the original text Yuan Dian? You have not, you say. Ha ha, then I shall tell you. The original text I know goes like this. Chapter 1. The story of a boy who brings a carp in winter for his mother. They say the boy did not save his mother. When he got the carp and returned home, his mother was already dead, whether frozen to death in the cold winter or starved to death, no one knows. Chapter 2. The story of a blind man who prays to the heavens again and again and regains his sight. The boy who lost his mother, even in that situation, was hungry and ate the carp. He then fell ill and his eyes rotted away. Though he prayed to the heavens did not answer. So he tried to live by joining forces with his leg-crippled friend, but the leg-crippled friend betrayed the eye-crippled boy, stole the mother's keepsakes, and, caught trying to sell them to a merchant, was killed by the eye-crippled boy. In the end, not receiving an answer from the heavens, the eye-crippled learned, by his own talent, the way to feel the flow of heaven and earth and to sense people's hostility, coming to know the world. Chapter 3. The story of a husband who, when his wife falls ill with a fatal disease, lights fire on the tip of his finger to cure her illness. The eye-crippled also became an adult. Wandering from village to village holding the blade with which he had killed his friend, he met a woman driven out for having leprosy, had his heart stolen, was loved, and married. Wanting to cure the leprosy, he roamed all the mountains and rivers, sought a way to cure leprosy, heard that if one lights fire beacons Feng Huo Bonghua on 5 mountain peaks the disease would be cured, searched and searched for the mountain peaks but could not find them, and returned home. But the moment he returned home, the house where the wife with leprosy lived was burned by thieves, and even as he burned his own hands, he failed to save his wife and went mad. Chapter 4. The story of a poor old man who gets a goblin cap and becomes rich. Thus he went mad, and at the same time gained the enlightenment of being forgotten by the world. In a state unseen by anyone, he went around killing people, monsters, spirits, and goblins. Whatever stood before him, all of them. Chapter 5. The story of a child who, driven from his hometown by schemes of a fox sister, met the Dragon King, heard the method to appease the fox sister, returned, and reconciled with the fox sister. The man who began to grow old met a fox. When the fox disguised herself as his wife and appeared before him, he thought, for the first time, that a miracle descended and rejoiced. Though he himself knew it was not real, even so he soothed his madness by believing it to be real. To the point that even if the fox set him up as her henchman and destroyed a nation, a continent, a star, he followed. There was no problem until the sacred Dragon King told him the truth. Even when the Dragon King told him the truth, if only the fox, suspicious of the eye-crippled, had not dug up the wife's grave and threatened him, it could have been a good ending. The eye-crippled split the fox apart into pieces and tore the body to shreds. Chapter 6. The story of an old man at the end of his lifespan who offers rituals to the heavens 1,000 times and extends his lifespan. Before long, the old man's lifespan also ran out, and he offered a ritual to the heavens. He linked countless stars to stars, and with it he drew a formation and performed a ritual. It was not a ritual to extend lifespan. Just a ritual begging, and begging, for his next life to stop making him miserable. The ritual did not come true. Why would the lofty heavens have any interest in such a mere bug? The eye-crippled only wasted his time for nothing, and ended up croaking like such. This is the original text of the story. The stories of the fairy tale books I have seen on Mount Sumeru, which are everywhere in this world, flow to the lower dantian of the future king. They flow into the place that symbolizes history and chi. Inside the fairy tale books, the protagonists of the illustrated sheets all come out with their eyes rolling and meet my gaze. Only now can I understand. From the moment I read about the protagonists of those stories in the archives of the Cheonmin clan while following Master, I, from then on, could never avoid his gaze. Coo-goo-goo-goo-goo. A black something surges skyward and forms a river. It is something that resembles a snake. Only after a while do I finally realize that it is the Gandhara of the heavenly venerable of void. A black 3 great ultimates formed of countless snakes. Those innumerable snakes that are the symbols of emptiness all at once get sucked into his chest. The northern heavenly venerable, true martial great emperor Hyeon Mu. The being that is emptiness itself begins to fill the future king's chest. It begins to fill the place where the heart, the soul should be. The last thing I see is radiance. Toward Mount Sumeru. From there, the authority of the radiance mantra which I am sure I threw into the cycle of reincarnation and smashed to pieces, as if reversing time, turns the wheel backward, creates a great river of light, and flies here. The great river of radiance evokes a giant snake made of light. I quickly dig up the grave of Hong Fan that I have kept buried inside my body. In the tomb of Hong Fan, there is no corpse at all. As if it has never existed from the beginning. That river of light, even when we block it, passes through as if all our resistance is nothing, and towards the upper dantian of the future king. It settles in the place that symbolizes fate, and begins to fill his face. Soon, the being whose three dantian are all filled raises his head. His history is the distorted original text of stories that exist everywhere. His heart is the emptiness that cannot be found in anything. His fate is the radiance of the black snake that always watches us. Shiver, shiver, shiver. I do not feel any energy or momentum at all. What dwells in those eyes is not any dignity or authority, but endless self-loathing and emptiness. Yet even so, from that gaze alone, I feel my knees go weak and I begin to want to give up everything. Woo! Among the stars that fill the firmament of this strange space, a few fall and begin to whisper something. I realize that the identity of those stars is very familiar. They are the countless Hyeon rangs across the generations. With only their heads floating, the Hyeon rangs move only their mouths and begin to fill this entire space with wisdom. Most supreme who opens the world, wielder of talismans, ruler of calendrics, truth-embracing Tao embodying future radiance 9 firmaments time-governing myriad Taos non-action all illuminating great hall vast heaven golden gate fate great heavenly venerable black martial high supreme deity Tai Sheng Kai Tian Ji Fu Yu Li Han Genti Dao Wei Lai Guang Ming Ju Chong Li Yuan Dao Wu Wei Tong Ming Da Dian Hao Tian Jin Ke Yun Ming Da Tian Zun Zan Wu Gao Shang Di. Past that long string of epithets, comes the familiar names by which he is called in short. Future King, Fate Supreme Deity, Hong Fan Ji Yu Ju, Hong Fan Ju Cho, Great Plan 9 categories. Whisper 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 whisper, the wisdoms tell his true name. At the same time, his will arises from everywhere and begins to inject a certain enlightenment. In this world, only I am noble. The 3 realms are in suffering, so I shall rightly make them peaceful. That is precisely the wisdom that explains the significance of existence of the future king and the will he holds. And breaking the silence of that wisdom that feels like eternity, he opens his mouth. You have worked hard, contrary to what befits a being called the future king, a mere ordinary physical voice. Here is your ending. 1. Still the wisdoms resound, and the will of that being presses us down as if pronouncing a sentence upon us. The head of the world is me. The most outstanding being in the world is me. The most advanced being in the world is me. This place is the last. There is no more mercy. Here is your end. Do not fall into despair. Though the world is surely suffering. Stretching out his palm, the splitting heaven mantra flies in all too naturally. There exists a value that surpasses suffering. Before the light of that mantra that collapses the absolute, I feel the faces of the 16th cycle flash past before my eyes. For life is hope, the endlessly empty God of light and hope, trampling our hope without mercy, covers all heaven and earth with light. Boong, splitting emperor splitting heaven, annihilation advancement mu. From my hand, the ultimate technique my senior brother used bursts forth. The original and the imitation collide and cancel out with a dazzling flash. I, at the very end of a truly long road, call out my long-standing nemesis and closest friend and step forward. Truly, truly, he, without a word and without even rising, lifts his hand. Ururung. A change arises within Mount Sumeru. The 4 Gandhara that cover Mount Sumeru. Among them, the entire interdimensional void suddenly gets plucked out of Mountain Sumeru, compresses, and is held in his hand. Entering heavens beyond the path. Void sword. I believe that it is what it was named. It is endless nothingness. At the same time, it is the extreme of the killing art that destroys everything and slaughters everything. Entering heavens. A good name, but I call it true martial arts. That jade voice crosses space-time in an instant. I finally understand the true meaning of true martial arts. True martial arts is the future king's martial arts system. More precisely, only the martial arts that reach the end of that system and receive recognition from the owner of fate are bestowed the name true martial arts. Only now can I know the causality of how we at some moment felt we reached the realm called true martial arts. It is not that we ascend to a realm called true martial arts. In this moment we were recognized by the future king and heard his jade voice, and his jade voice went past an engraved recognition upon the martial arts of Kim Young-hoon and me. One being among the enders across generations used their authority and did a similar deed, but he executed that miracle with nothing but smoothly uttered spoken word. That is the true nature of the realm of true martial arts that we at some moment reached. As promised, since you remember the true name, I shall return the void sword. The name of the void sword returns to me, and his true martial arts emits true light and reveals its true name and form. True martial arts, emptiness sword, the interdimensional void, the plane of soul itself, becomes a monster that lives and moves in his hand and bares its teeth at me. Emptiness sword, 7th move, final profundity. It is said a beast exerts all its strength even to catch a small creature. unfolding a killing art with full force from the beginning, and deploying a decisive move I cannot even guess. He begins to reach out his hand. Hope, Shi Wang, I have wanted to meet. Sensing the death that engulfs me before I can even perceive anything, I smile brightly. My greatest enemy, oh heavens, my greatest friend. Thus, from within death, I begin the recollection of the cycle I have forgotten. The recollection of the 16th cycle together with Hong Fan, the main personality of the future king. Chapter 785 16th Cycle's First Day. Seo Eun-yun's 15th life. He collapses on the spot. Pachijijijik. At Seo Eun-yun's side, Yu Hua of the half-human, half-spider race breaks Seo Weil's magic artifact that contains the soul of her disciple Baeknyung, causing Baeknyung to attain Buddhahood. Yu Hua looks at Seo Eun-yun. Quote. Are you satisfied? A revenge play aimed at Seo Weil. The curtain of that long revenge play, in which the sound, ho-ho, still seems to ring by the ears, finally comes to a close. I am satisfied. That is a relief. Yu Hua looks at Seo Eun-yun and smiles bitterly. Though her eyes are closed, she looks at him with the hard eye, Xinyan not taking her eyes off him to hold in her heart Seo Eun-yun, who melts away under the curse laid by the true immortal of heavenly punishment. One thing, and, as he dies with a body where pale mist and lightning royal. Seo Eun-yun opens his mouth. He speaks to Yu Hua as he scatters into lightning. The heaven collapsing esteemed one, breathed something into Yu Baek. Yu Baek passed her heart to me and now it is inside me. I think I should pass it to you as well, so I will. Yu Baek, the remnant of Yu Ryan of the Yellow Dragon race, who was used by the Sea Dragon King Seo Weil and died. Seo Eun-yun, holding in his heart the heart that Yu Baek left behind and Jang Ike's teachings in her memories, begins to deliver them to Yu Hua. For it is not merely an enlightenment left only to Yu Baek, but also an enlightenment left to Seo Eun-yun and to Yu Hua, a junior of the heart tribe. Some cultivators say the amount of air in the lungs is the heart, and since the lungs correspond to metal, the heart is metallic. But if we follow your cultivators' logic, since the metal of the 5 elements corresponds to the Qian of the 8 trigrams, isn't the heart from the heavens? Your heart lives touching the heavens, and just as you cannot deny the heavens, you cannot deny the heart. So even if someone denies your heart, it never truly disappears. Where does the heart come from? If heaven is fate and earth is life, then perhaps the heart comes between fate and life, accompanying fate. After conveying Jang Ike's enlightenment to Yu Hua, Seo Eun-yun finally scatters into fragments of lightning and disappears into the void. This is Seo Eun-yun's 16th return. It seems like I see a snake. The moment I feel that, I open my eyes and look around. Seo Weil stands before me with that familiar, ho-ho, smiling face, and Jin Baek Ho, Azure Tiger Saint, White Bone Ghost Devil, and others look at me. What was that just now? It seems I saw something in the midst of regressing. I can't recall it well. Only, a vision like a snake hissing seemed to pass by briefly. Ah, well, but I soon can tell the reason. Because just seeing Seo Weil's face in front of me brings it to mind. Because the one I rolled around with in the 15th cycle was this snake bastard, I must have seen such a fleeting thing for a moment. I take one step back from Seo Weil and ask. Are you asking which faction I will choose? That is so. I certainly feel the energy of the nascent soul stage within your body. For a mere cultivator at the nascent soul stage to ascend following us, is that not truly something to be astonished by? At your level, you will be welcomed wherever you go. In the life before last, during the Azure Heaven creation sect cycle, I reached the nascent soul stage. And in the last life, I also reached the nascent soul stage by the cultivation method of the demon race, reaching the early heaven and earth dual cultivation nascent soul stage. Sly, old bastard. Though there is no actual nascent soul remaining, only a remnant, Seo Weil nevertheless in an instant realizes it through the remnant of the demon race's cultivation method. Quote. Yes, that is right. Though this one was originally a cultivator at the nascent soul stage, while urgently ascending I received shock and both my cultivation of the nascent soul and golden core scattered. Even so you are excellent. It is surprising that nascent soul followed after ascension, and yet you are alive after scattering your nascent soul. It is clear that heavenly fate follows you. I would like to bring you into the Sea Dragon race, do you perhaps have thoughts on it? Seo Weil gently reaches his hand out toward me, and Yu Ryan, who waits in the back, furrows her brows. Just a single human race nascent soul. Why are you wasting time on such a thing? Haha, senior, please wait just a little. Sia Whale trades a few words with Yu Ryan, and I look at Yu Ryan. Senior Yu Ryan. In the last life, Yu Ryan, who was miserably murdered by Sia Whale, and Yu Ryan's spirit. Yu Beck's end comes to mind. Thinking of that makes my chest ache. I want to follow Sia Whale into the True Dragon Alliance right this instant and free Yu Ryan from Sia Whale's clutches. But, I must not. That must not be. In any case, the Yu Ryan who formed a connection with me in the last life and this Yu Ryan are different people. Moreover, throb, single quote. As expected, the curse followed. Even beyond regression, I am being transformed into lightning. Whether Jin Baek-ho senses something or not, his eyes gradually fill with shock. Wait, you. At this rate, it looks like I will be noticed by Jin Baek-ho or the Mad Lord and be kidnapped any moment, so I decide in a hurry. I'm sorry. A demon race force like the True Dragon Alliance is, after all, a burden to me as a member of the human race. I look at the other humans who ascended together with Jin Baek-ho, Azure Tiger Saint, and White Bone Ghost Devil. That does not mean I can choose Jin Baek-ho. Right now, I am in a situation where I am melting under the owner of heavenly punishment. If I stick close to the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, I do not know what ill effect I might have on the Heavenly Lightning Banner. I am sorry. If it's possible, I will choose the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect in the next life. Right now, choosing the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect is a bad move. In this case, since not choosing will mean getting kidnapped by the Mad Lord. My choice is but one. I choose the Righteous and Devil Alliance. Among them, I walk toward the place where there is a woman whose features look familiar from somewhere. You may not know about me, but I have a history with the Mockley clan. Mockley Cheon Sa, a cultivator at the half-step heavenly being stage from a collateral branch of the Mockley clan. When I destroyed and left the Mockley clan, she was someone I once saw in the archives while rummaging through the remnants of the Mockley clan. As a child she suffered abuse from parents of a collateral branch of the Mockley clan, escaped, and as a person of the mountains and rivers, she wandered through the head realm, reached the half-step heavenly being stage, then entered the Devilish Immortal Alliance and took part in the Ascension Alliance. After reaching the nascent soul stage, she is said to have massacred her own parents and blood relatives with her own hands, so she is also someone who will not be greatly enraged even if it is exposed that I destroyed the Mockley clan. At the same time, since she has not abandoned the Mockley surname, she at least pays minimal attention, so I can try to sell the name of the Mockley clan to beg some recognition. I know you do not like the Mockley clan, but if you would take me in for the sake of old ties. Of course, if even this is not accepted there is nothing I can do, but since I have revealed my will to make my base in the Devilish Immortal Alliance, many devilish sects belonging to the Devilish Immortal Alliance will reach out to me. Well, fine, I accept you. Quote. I make the offer expecting in large part to be refused, but being accepted as a disciple more easily than I expect, I look up at her feeling a bit dumbfounded. In the name of this Mockley Cheon Sa of the Devilish Immortal Alliance, here, what was your name? Sco Unyan. I proclaim that Cultivator Co is now a member of the Devilish Immortal Alliance. At her words, the Mad Lord, Co Whale, Azure Tiger Saint, and the like turn their interest away from me. White Bone Ghost Devil looks at me with eyes that see a young chicken he can eat anytime, and Jin Baek-ho thumps his chest as if frustrated. After a while, the Mad Lord kidnaps a cultivator of the Flying Immortal platform, and Co Whale and the other cultivators keep their heads down while blocking the fallout from the Mad Lord. I glance at Mockley Cheon Sa, who has become my new master, and think. Just what is she thinking? Whatever method Mockley Cheon Sa has cultivated, I cannot see her intent. Only, though I cannot see her intent, I can see heart essence, which makes it all the more bizarre. Because her heart essence is a bizarre land of grey hills stretching on, I furrow my brow, finding it hard to guess her inner thoughts. Well, still, she is better than Co Whale. Why do I, despite my disgust toward Yuan Li, enter the Devilish Immortal Sect Alliance? The reason is simple. The Devilish Path Bastards, especially the human race Devilish Path Bastards, are trash. Through Yuan Li, and through the devilish cultivators during the Devil Realm invasion. I came to know it very well. They are no different from vermin that all ought to be slaughtered. Since most of them are villains whose deaths do not matter, I joined with the thought that when I later transform into lightning and draw the gaze of the owner of heavenly punishment, it is fine if that damage falls on them. But this one, I do not know. She does not seem such a villain, yet she does not seem such a good person either. She is too kind to be a cultivator of the devilish immortal alliance, and she has a heart essence a little too wicked to be a normal cultivator. Well, it does not matter. If I am reluctant to kill, I can just leave her alone and wander anyway. The devilish immortal sect alliance is far looser than the head realm three great immortal sects, or under Co Whale and the Mad Lord. Soon, we move to the human race territory. After receiving identity plaques at Temporal Fate Island, the devilish immortal sect alliance is assigned a residence on a sky island called Red Moon Island. Thus, I head to Red Moon Island together with the Mokli Cheon Sa, my new master. Now, this is what you are to do starting today. Pardon, a month after the devilish immortal sect alliance settled on Red Moon Island and Mokli Cheon Sa settled in a place where a suitable spiritual vein flows. After she arranged her cave residence, she dragged me over and spoke. Her cave residence is filled with countless demon beasts and demon insects, and she hands me a storage scroll and speaks. From today you will feed my demon insects and demon beasts, and you will take care of them. Quote. Master, I apologize, but I am still before accumulating cultivation, so I possess a body at a level no different from a mortal. If I begin cultivation through the colorless glass sword, it is possible to reach the nascent soul stage within 2 months, but for now I simply look like a mortal on the outside. Taking care of powerful demon insects at my level could be dangerous. Of course, because my body is of treading heavens, it is not truly dangerous, but at least outwardly. HMPH, let us be honest with each other. Mokli Cheon Sa snorts and speaks. Wo Wang. Mokli Cheon Sa's eyes turn dark blue, and the clear light of the character I am, Ren, shines forth. I awakened a spirit I divine power postnatally. Long ago I water tortured a descendant of an ethnic minority race with seawater, and perhaps because of that race's traits, I came to possess a powerful spirit I. Quote. I do not understand at all how one claims to gain a spirit I by water torturing a person, but I let it pass. It seems she doesn't want to tell me how she obtained the spirit I. It also seems she blocks my sight that sees intent with that spirit I divine power. Through these eyes I named the great sea eyes Da Hai Yan. I can see many things. I know well that you conceal battle power of the nascent soul stage, that you have hidden your natal dharma treasure, and that you condense within it a power hard even to imagine. Quote. As a member of the Heart tribe, my battle power is such that no one notices until I directly reveal my strength. Seeing that spirit I divine power pierce through treading heavens at a glance, I flinch and shiver. Just what kind of spirit I can see through the power of treading heavens? I am a devilish cultivator, but I have no interest in body seizing or in turning you into a pill or a puppet. In any case, another's talent is surely to be inferior to my own, so what is the point of stealing another's things? At a glance, your body's spiritual roots are also mixed, which does not look pleasing to me. Quote. Unexpectedly, she seems to be a massive lump of pride. Judging from how she saw through the 5 elements spiritual root, her perception also seems to be good. I am curious about that strange formless sword-like power that can display nascent soul stage strength even without a nascent soul, but I get the feeling it would be dangerous if I try to probe it by force. In any case, it is probably a secret art of yours, so there is no way you would tell me obediently. Quote. There is no need to call me master. Though I am at the half-step heavenly being stage, a person like you will catch up soon enough, so let us just call each other fellow cultivators as equals, Cultivator Co. Quote. Understood, Cultivator Mokli. Good, then let us make a deal from an equal position. You tried to enter under my tutelage because you have a reason to enter the Devil Immortal Sect Alliance, right? That is correct. I will continue to vouch for your identity. In exchange, you will stay in my cave residence until you recover your nascent soul and look after my demon beasts and demon insects. She points at her demon beasts and demon insects. I am born of the Mokli clan's blood, but there are things I dislike about the Mokli clan, and the Mokli clan's yin path methods do not fit my nature at all, so I mainly learned the methods of other sects. And unlike the main house of the Mokli clan, whose main income is pill making, I actually enjoy raising demon beasts and demon insects, so I have been raising these fellows. I look at the demonic creatures she raises and let out a silent exclamation. In her cave residence there are not only many core formation stage demon insects, but even 1 or 2 demonic creatures at the transformation stage bound into human form. Are they nascent soul stage demon beast? To have perfectly trained and restrained even demonic creatures of the same stage, she seems to be a fairly high-level beast-taming cultivator. Among the transformation stage demonic creatures, she approaches a woman who seems to be a cat family demonic creature and scratches her neck. The cat demon beast purrs and lifts her neck, and then at some moment suddenly her eyes roll white. She grabs Mokli Cheon Saw's arm and bites until blood comes out. Though she is a transformation stage demon beast, she acts similar to an ordinary cat. I do not know well about beast taming, but the appearance of a demonic creature acting like an ordinary animal seems to show excellent taming skills. She looks down at her own hand from which blood flows in streams and speaks. To take care of these kids, a cultivator of the same realm is needed, but I cannot trust most of them, so I always had to take care of them myself. Half-baked core formation fellows get eaten by my demon beasts, and nascent soul stage cultivators dislike getting their time eaten up by work like this, and they are expensive to employ. Of course, there were sometimes suspicious heavenly being stage cultivators who said they would look after demon beasts for no compensation, but a vein bulges for a moment on Mokli Cheon Saw's forehead. Judging by her quickening pulse, it feels like anger. Well, the endings were not very good. At least I learned that anyone at the heavenly being stage or above is a madman drunk on madness. In any case, I learned I must not ask a heavenly being stage cultivator to do this even if I have the chance. Thanks to this, I have to personally manage the binding seals for the demon beasts one by one. Even when I am near reaching the heavenly being stage, I cannot focus on advancing to it because I have to keep in mind the binding seals, so I had to be satisfied at the half-step heavenly being stage. She tosses something to me with a flick. It is a blue jade slip, bearing writing about the feed demonic creatures eat and the methods to control, tend, and grow them. And inside, a faint seed of spiritual energy is contained. It is a record that organizes beast taming, and binding seals that can control demon beasts. While you look at it, just look after these fellows until you regain your true strength. In the meantime, I will challenge the heavenly being stage advancement. Is it all right to entrust a secret to me so carelessly? And what if I abuse the cultivator's binding seals and do harm? What secret manual? It is nothing more than a record that organizes what beast taming cultivators like me all know. And I have prepared for whatever harm you might try, so there is no need to worry about that kind of thing. Is there no worry that I will use the binding seals to control the demon beasts, or turn them into pills and eat them, or the like? Hey, do you worry about pills just because you are from the Mokli clan? If you want to make pills, try making them. With high probability you will become their snack. She points at her demon beasts, and perhaps having received her signal, the demon beasts all at once start glaring at me. If I regain my realm, I am confident I can handle all of them except for Mokli Cheon Saw, but since my cultivation realm is low right now, I can only give an awkward smile. And I also have no worry about the leakage of secret teachings. By any chance have you learned beast taming methods, or do you even have a pet demon beast you are raising? To my eyes, you may have learned demon beast methods, but you would not have learned beast taming methods. I am about to answer that I do not even have a pet demon beast, when I suddenly remember and take out the little one I have kept in my body. It is the baby centipede that has followed me since Ascension Path. I have recently begun to raise one centipede. Mokli Cheon Saw looks once at the baby centipede and bursts into laughter. PFF'd. Sorry, I did not mean to ridicule. In any case, if it is a pet that is not even at chi refining, there is no worry about leakage even if I teach you beast taming secrets. Whether this or that, I am relieved. I will guarantee your identity, and you, in my stead for a short while, will take care of my demon insects. How about it, Cultivator CO? After thinking for a moment upon hearing Mokli Cheon Saw's words, I nod. Very well, a deal like this is actually better with a devilish cultivator. Thus, from that day, I live in Mokli Cheon Saw's cave residence and begin the work of tending her demon beasts and demon insects. And I decide to give to the baby centipede that follows me the name I gave in the previous cycle. This guy's talent is heaven bestowed. The first month of the 16th cycle. In Mokli Cheon Saw's cave residence, hoping the baby centipede grows quickly, I give him a name. Hong Fan. Let's get along. His name is one that was designated by the heavens. And I gained enlightenment about the heavens in the previous cycle. Isn't the heart from the heavens? Your heart lives touching the heavens, and just as you cannot deny the heavens, you cannot deny the heart. So even if someone denies your heart, it never truly disappears. For at least Hong Fan, I decide to think of him as the connection and heart bestowed by the heavens, and because I decide to accept it gratefully in my arms. I attach again to the fellow that name bestowed from the heavens. If the heart is also eternal like the heavens, may the connection that is you, granted by the heavens, also be eternal. Present, I begin recollection and walk beyond the light of hope scattered by my connection. I cannot block it, I also cannot evade it. No countering ultimate technique is prepared. Then there is only one countermeasure I can take now. If I cannot evade it, I will make it avoidable. Kuririk, I bring the sword down. Space-time twists. At the same time, the light halos of the emptiness sword final profundity that exist in countless trajectories and directions, and in all places of the past, present, and future, come into my sight. By normal means, one inevitably gets hit and can only die. So, I must twist causality. Space-time twists by me, and even causality begins to twist together. Severing heaven's sword form final sword will. Auspicious soul filling the heavens applied ultimate technique. Kuririk, the turning wheel mantra rotates and that power dwells in the sword. The underworld also lends a hand, and the white wheel emerges and begins to twist causality together with me. The transcendent skill heavenly escape and the enlightenment of filling the heavens governing view imbues in auspicious soul filling the heavens, and I barely twist the causality of hope. Heaven of neither perception nor non-perception, fei shang tian. Impermanence touches the principle of non-perception and overturns causality. With auspicious soul filling the heavens, space-time turns over. With filling the heavens governing view, the light of hope loses its target for a fleeting instant, and the power of heavenly escape sends hope for a moment into the domain of purity to wander. Even then, because it is impossible to nullify hope completely, I attempt one more thing. Kuririk, even without a direct hit, just the aftershock of hope tears away the entire space-time where we stand. Radiance blankets heaven, earth, and the heavens above. And beyond that light, I open my eyes. What is? My comrades begin to panic. The future king fate supreme deity Hong Fan Ji Yu Ju. His true martial arts, emptiness sword final profundity, hope. Everyone except the underworld and me was torn apart entirely by only the aftershock of the light of hope. They were annihilated by only the aftershock of a single strike. My comrades definitely died, yet why are they standing here? It is simple. The first day of the 2014 cycle. Kim Young-hoon, perhaps realizing what has happened, looks around with cold sweat. Severing heaven's sword form, final form. Auspicious soul filling the heavens. I already placed time within my sword circle and suppressed it. However many times we get hit, I will just turn it back to before the hit. Through auspicious soul filling the heavens, I made the space-time just before we were swept up and killed by the aftershock of hope flow and leap across. No matter how strong the ultimate technique, as long as we do not take the impact head-on, we can avoid instant death. It is an attack that transcends a thing like space-time. However you turn back time, you will not come out unscathed. The owner of the heavens looks at us for a moment with an expressionless face, and I smile bitterly inside. He is right. Even though I evaded by turning back time, I still could not fully evade and only managed to let it flow past. On top of that, I did not completely let it flow past. Even though I joined forces with Underworld to barely twist the causality of hope and change its direction, and crossed time to avoid the aftershock. Hope still has not ended. It pursues. Even if not now, someday, it will come again. In the end, without even feeling the true power of hope, I only wasted sword strokes on merely deferring time. An interesting move indeed. Severing heaven's sword form. Having thought of something, he leans his back on the jade throne and speaks. His gaze somehow makes it feel like he recognized in an instant what I did with severing heaven's sword form, so my chest feels tight. Good. I grant you qualification. However it may be, whether I used a trick or something else. Perhaps he acknowledges me for being intact even after receiving the first move. He speaks toward me. Speak. You may resent me, you may persuade me, you may bow and beg, or you may simply confess everything with an open heart. Or you may ask questions about what you are curious about. I will listen to anything. That is leisure. Leisure is an absolute strong one, and mercy. Since this is your end, as your parent I will hear everything and remember you. At those words, Oh Yun-sok steps forward. No, there is no need for that. Clenching his fist with a hardened face, he speaks. We have come to collide with you. All 7 of us, each becoming a governing immortal. Kugugugugu. Preparing Azure Wing Heavenly Shatter, Oh Yun-sok shouts. Who, on whose authority, judges our end. O owner of fate, including Co Un-yun, 6 heavenly kings and the Imperial Venerable have descended. We will not lose to fate. Truth manipulation. Splat. Kim Young-hoon, Jaeon Myung-hoon, Kong Min-hee, Kim Yeon. And the eyes of me and the heavenly venerable of the underworld all turn to an egg that suddenly falls and shatters beside us. An egg. As if not understanding, Jaeon Myung-hoon stares at the suddenly fallen egg. And Kim Young-hoon, as if he senses something amiss, looks at me and asks. Seo Eun-yeon, wait, originally were we, 6. Quote. I smile bitterly and look at the red lump of flesh held in the Fate Supreme Deity's grasp. It is Oh Hi Seo. Quote. What you feel is right. We were originally 7. Oh Yun-sok, struck by Oh Hi Seo's authority truth manipulation, became an egg. And in that desolate truth, only the low voice of Hong Fan Ji-yu-ju quietly echoes. You call one who proclaimed their fate a governing immortal. From the moment it was spoken aloud, it was nothing but an immortal treasure. The lump of flesh gripped in his hand writhes pitifully, toying with the very existence of the being called Oh Yun-sok. Do you still not realize why I call myself your parent? Oh sons and daughters, recall the contract from when you first met me. Oh Hi Seo's truth manipulation always carries a trace of hatred and resentment, or a hint of mischief. But in those eyes that look down on everything beneath the heavens, twisting Oh Hi Seo at will and manipulating all of phenomena at whim. There is no emotion, no warmth contained. My net seems large and loose, yet it lets nothing slip through. Tian Wang Wei Wei Shu Er Bu Shi. What I grant you is but a story. Everything else lies in my hand. I have no interest in anything. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTs. Together with the 16th cycle, memories return. After we died from being struck by the landslide but before falling into ascension path. The things that happened in between. The first day we met Hong Fan in the audience chamber. Speak. If there is anything you are curious about here, ask without reserve, find the answer, and attain enlightenment. For this is your end. Querararik, Oh Yun-sok, who became an egg, fell, and shattered, returns, and only then do my comrades other than me in the underworld realize what has happened to them, and the light in their eyes begins to fade. He casually tosses Oh Hi Seo, whom he has yanked over in an instant, gripped in his hand, and made into a lump of flesh. Oh Hi Seo comes to her senses and begins to restore her body, and the light in her eyes has also vanished. Oh Yun-sok lets out a hollow laugh and groans. Quote. How do we win, Silver Basket? Is there even the possibility of 4-pun? Are you saying that can be defined in a unit called 4-pun? In his wail, we all fall silent. Did you not say, we can bring about a miracle? Oh Silver Basket, that if we recite, if we desire, there clearly is a possibility it will be fulfilled. Just. Boo-doo-dook. Collapsed, Oh Yun-sok pounds the space below with his fist and wails. Against that, just what hope are we supposed to have?